just a few days ago. The president addressing the country last night in what's now become known as a family meeting. Alcohol sales banned. The curfew is earlier, and also park and beaches are closed. Let's welcome to the show Mr. Becky Nchalanchali, Cosatu's General Secretary. Becky, good morning to you. It's always a pleasure hearing from you on the matters regarding COVID-19. Overall, your reaction to the President's address last night?
We noted the President's address. We emphasized with government. We think it was necessary to take some of the action that they have been taking. However, we regret that we are at this stage because there's been a lack of enforcement of some of the regulations. We know exactly that the spread has been arising from the many gatherings where the regulations were not respected. Had we enforced them, I think we'll be in a different stage. Of course, it's not only government, it's the behavior of our people. But in a country like ours, where the binge and many of the action has been happening, we think government had to do better than what it did. I think it's a little bit late. We were consulted some few weeks ago when they were talking about the beach. We clearly indicated that closing a beach for one day and allowing the people to come back the following day does not address the issue. Clearly, there was a clear defiance by people in terms of regulation, and the law enforcement agencies were nowhere to be seen. We are concerned about the economy. I mean, we need first to emphasize that we share our sympathy with the frontline workers, the doctors, the nurses, the excellent work that they are doing. I think they are facing very difficult time now as we move forward. So we have to pay, attribute to them. They've done as much as they can. We know that their leave has been cancelled. They are already exhausted as we speak. And I think a disaster is awaiting all of us to happen. But we need to balance, in our view, the question of the lives of those particular frontline workers, as well as the question of the economy. We think our economy is bleeding. There are areas where we'll never recover as we move.
Becky, I'm curious your thoughts on, obviously, South Africans are primarily responsible for their own behavior, whether it's these super spreader events, the lack of masks in public, not washing of hands and sanitizing, etc. Do you think that government lifted the lockdown restrictions too early, knowing how South Africans behave come Christmas and New Year's?
It's difficult to say because at that time there were clearly signs that we were going, the infection was going down rapidly, but also we thought that the weather was on our side as we're going to summer, and we've been told that in a hotter environment, the spread sometimes become less aggressive. So everybody was of the view that government was doing well in dealing with those issues, including the political analysts. They think government was doing well, that they were flattening the rate. But we asked government at the time, in our case in Netland, and we asked business, how are you going to deal with the shutdown when people are going to be going together? How are you going to deal with the holidays? There was a very little answer coming out. What we then rely on was that government will enforce the current regulation that exists in terms of your funeral, in terms of your wedding, in terms of the many other parties. And the warning that we got it from the rage, you remember the party in Durban, that everybody who attended, they came out or came back very positive. We think government was able to do better. We never anticipated that our own people were to behave in the manner they did. So
Mr. Nchalanchali, forgive me, because I agree. I couldn't agree with you more about these super spreader events, and rage in Belito was a good example. Forgive me for interrupting, Mr. Nchalanchali. Your thoughts on the COVID vaccine? We were told the first quarter of 2021, told last night it's going to be the second quarter of 2021. It's another 3 to 4 months where we're going to lose lives. Workers are not going to be protected. Your thoughts on what seems to be another delay now for the vaccine?
I think it's a mixed message. We're shocked because the president, on one hand, says exactly that they are talking bilaterals with the companies that are producing this vaccine. But we don't understand why it has to take so much delay, because we thought, and everybody's thinking, that the frontline workers were the first to be receiving this vaccine. And I think the second quarter is too far. The damage will be greater than anticipated.
Very briefly, do you think this is something that government could have done better? Is this bad planning and management from government side that we're still not going to get a vaccine until middle of next year?
I think if it happened in this way, definitely government will have lowered the guard. I think they can do better. In our view, they should be able just to enforce and just put more people to negotiate and get the vaccine. There's no reason we've been told this was exactly what is the reason that it takes so much delay. But also in relation to the economy, the test, the question of the guaranteed schemes, we can't allow the economy to die at the same time. Government and business must mobilize resources so that we can keep the lives and the livelihood afloat.
I appreciate your time in speaking to us this morning. Cosatu General Secretary, Mr. Bheki Nchalane, joining us here on the South African Morning, reacting to the enforcement, the beaches, the economy, and of course that vaccine. It's going to be months later than this country was expecting it.